Pit toilets were meant to have been eradicated by 2016. According to the Department of Basic Education's National Education Infrastructure Management System 2020 report, over 3,000 schools still rely entirely on pit toilets nationally. Let's take a look at the numbers by provinces. We can see that the Eastern Cape has the most amount of pit latrines with over 1,200, followed by KwaZulu-Natal with almost 1,100. Limpopo has 472 schools with pit toilets, and the Northern Cape and the Western Cape seem to have eradicated pit toilets entirely. Now, at the time of the launch of the Sanitation Appropriate for Education initiative in August 2018, there were almost 4,000 schools that required appropriate sanitation interventions. That initiative was established as a direct response to school sanitation challenges faced by some of the country's poorest schools. Now, besides being unsanitary, pit latrines also lead to death. In 2018, 5-year-old Lumka Mketwa fell into a pit latrine at her school in Bizana in the Eastern Cape. In 2014, 5-year-old Michael Komape fell into a pit toilet and drowned at his primary school in Limpopo. His mother, traumatized and bereft, seems to have ascribed some blame to the Department of Education. The issues in schools extend beyond pit latrines. There's also mud schools, which are schools built out of mud, wood, zinc and asbestos. They should have been replaced or fixed by 2016, according to the Standards for Public School Infrastructure. Now, in a written reply to the Eastern Cape Legislature in 2018, the then Provincial MEC for Education in the province, Mandla Makupula, said there were still 436 mud schools in the province. In 2004, former President Thabo Mbeki made a promise to eradicate all mud schools in the Eastern Cape, saying that by the end of 2004, they would ensure that there was no learner learning under a tree or in a mud school. Speaking of promises, what do the three largest political parties in South Africa say about this issue? Well, the African National Congress claims it will continue to replace inappropriate school structures and sanitation facilities. The second largest party in the country, the Democratic Alliance, say in their manifesto booklet, the party promises to partner with the private sector to roll out collaboration schools, which it says will improve school infrastructure. And the third largest political party in South Africa, the Economic Freedom Fighters, manifesto states that the party will ensure that there are safe flushing toilets in all schools by 2021. Let's stay with this issue. Parents at Tjowe Primary School in Heuningvlei in the Northern Cape are demanding flushing toilets. The school is currently using ventilated improved pit latrines, which are a form of dry sanitation. And although the Education Department maintains that the toilets are acceptable as part of the norms and standards, the parents maintain that the structures are a threat to their children's safety. Since 2018, the Northern Cape Department of Education is said to have spent more than 6 million rand to eradicate pit toilets and replace them with ventilated improved pit latrines, flushing toilet and eco loos. Our SABC News reporter Neria Hlakotsa is at the school now. We cross to her live. Very good afternoon to you, Neria. Tell us what's happening there.
Good afternoon to you. We are at Tjowe Primary School here in Heuningvlei. This is one of the schools that are using the ventilated improved pit latrines. We know that the department was saying that these pit latrines are acceptable, but the parents here are saying no, we do not want these types of pit latrines. What we want is flushing toilets. But when we speak to the department, they are saying that they are unable to provide flushing toilets in this area, citing, of course, the water challenges that this area faces. But as you can see even behind me, that these toilets are not conducive for any learner or teacher, because as you can see, the walls have broken down. Even the structure itself is not pleasing, and it goes back to which child is expected to use this. Why are other children using flushing toilets and others are expected to rely on such toilets? But now I'm joined by residents and SGB members just to speak to them about this reality that they are facing in the school. Mama ke leboha haholo ke lona SGB ya sekolo se ntse le le ka hakakang hore di toilet tse di tlosiwe.
Gona go telele gore toilet tse gore di tlosiwe ha re kopa gore di-toilet di nne teng mo sekolong tse di flashiwang. Re kopa gore le bana gore ba nne safe mo sekolong mo di-toilet. Ke tse di awa di thubegile ga di na ditswalo.
And I guess, again, one thing that these residents were also speaking about in terms of these toilets is the hygiene of the children, because as you know that these toilets are on top of a pit, and that pit is not so deep according to these residents, because as soon as it gets full, they even have to move the toilet again. So you can see that it's still a mission, despite the department saying these ventilated improved pit toilets are actually acceptable in terms of norms and standards. Let's just speak to one resident here. Abuti, the whole morning ntse re bua ka di toilets tse. I think another worry ke hygiene ya bana hore ba tshwanela o sebedisa ntho ha le worry ka hygiene ya bona.
Ke mmere ke ginger re worry ka khanya di toilet mo baneng, especially yanga ke bana ba bannye ba ma grade a re go tsena go grade 7 ene ga ba safe go ka dirisa di toilet tse di tshwanang le tse ba tshwanetse ba dirisa di toilet tse di flashang le ba ka le mokgwa ke gore le monkgo wa tsone ga nka ke ba tsaya sentle ba ka eletsa ba nna le pobolo. So ke nagana gore go ka nna botoka ha ba ka re tlisetsa di toilet dingwe tse di flashang ka gore go lo mo go na le metsi ba se ka ba lo ra ba ra go la metsi mo metsi a mantsi a le go toilet tse di flash di ka se nne le bothata.
And just there, basically saying that if the department is arguing that there's no water, that's why they are giving the school these toilets, the gentleman here says that's not true. The area, in fact, it does have water. And I think another resident that we can speak to, Atumela Hanyani Mama, is Lenki Haribu he department ere ha e khone le fa di flashing toilets ere hobane pleke ya lona ha una metsi ke yona ntho e ka lefang di toilet tse ke tsona tse ba ka lefang tsona le ikutlwa yang ka taba e lona.
Rena ga re ikutlwa ka di toilet tse re batla di toilet tse di flashiwang gonne bana ba rona ba tle go nna bontle mo go tsone plus ga di toilet tse tsa rona tse ga di duduse monate di a tsikinyega. Obviously tsone di awa ga dina monate ope gore bana ba rona ba ka dula mo tsone plus go mo plekeng ya rona re dula le rona pheo di foka ka nako tse tsotlhe ma di gone ha re tse sentle ka gore le matlo a rona a wele go gore nako le nna lenki ntlo a ka e wele ga ke na thuso e ke ithuswang ka yone plus di toilet tse ga di re kgotsatse di awa ene di magano di maroba ga dina monate ope di leshe gore ga ke tlhaloganye gore bathato ya dithoto tsa rona ke eng re sa thusiwe bana ba rona ka tsone.
So basically, as you can hear here, the cry against these toilets is the infrastructure. The infrastructure is really poor, and that is the concern here from residents and parents, saying as much as these toilets are here, it would be at least better if they were in better conditions. And I mean, one can argue that it's wear and tear of over the years or poor workmanship. Nobody gets to know that. But what the Department of Education was saying, that if toilets are like this, in a bad state or infrastructure has worn out, they have an infrastructure department that has to come to schools to fix them, because they're saying this is a form of dry sanitation and it's the best they can provide. But we haven't seen the infrastructure department coming to the school to fix these toilets. So we will still wait and see if the department will actually come to the school and fix the school, because the department is priding itself to say in the Northern Cape they've eradicated pit toilets. We know now that there's only 5 schools that have pit toilets, but even those schools, the pit toilets that are there are not in use, according to the department. Instead, all they need to do now is demolish those pit toilets. So you can see the department is saying these toilets are acceptable. They have Heuningvlei loos, they have flushing toilets. But parents here at Tjowe are saying something different. They are saying they want flushing toilets like everybody else.
Neria Hlakotsa giving us an update from the Northern Cape there. Thanks so much for that update. While government